All right, this is off the cuff version 2. Now, I don't know. I was thinking about just doing album reviews, but I gotta be honest, eventually I'm gonna run out of things to review. So I'm gonna do some other things with the off the cuff. And I was thinking about, because I'm gonna go see Richard Thompson tomorrow night at the Englert, I was thinking about doing a concert review, but I think we're gonna go a little bit more general with Richard Thompson because. He is somebody that a lot more people should know about and they don't know about. So I'm going to try to give you guys my overall impression of Richard Thompson and try to get you guys to pay attention. So Richard Thompson stems out of a folk movement that happened in the late 60s in Britain. It didn't really make a big impact in the United States. And so he was in a band called Fairport Convention. Fairport Convention was, he was the lead guitar player, and they also had Sandy Denny, who was a vocalist. And Sandy Denny has kind of a interesting legacy that I don't want to steer off in too long, but she had some real issues with drugs. She died too young. She is probably most well known to the world in general for the co-vocal part that she sang with Robert Plant in the Led Zeppelin classic Battle of Evermore. So the other voice besides Robert Plant is Sandy Denny. Now, Sandy Denny was also the lead singer of Fairport Convention. Eventually, she left the band and kind of moved on to a solo career, and then eventually Richard Thompson left the band and moved on to a solo career as well. Now, Richard Thompson is kind of an interesting guy because he's a best of both world guys. Usually, most guys that are really world class musicians aren't necessarily great songwriters, and vice versa. Most really great songwriters are not necessarily world class musicians. Richard Thompson is one of those few exceptions that actually does both incredibly well. Richard Thompson has a rich history of albums from starting in Fairport Convention into the late 60s throughout the 70s with the series of albums he recorded with his then wife Linda Thompson. And then he also had a run through the 80s and 90s and is still actually producing albums today. Richard Thompson is he writes stories and he writes from a kind of a more of a folk tradition in an English sense of folk music. So he has some very strong folk roots. He plays with a very unique guitar style, and I'm gonna try to show you a brief demonstration of it if I can here. I'm not good at it. I can't really play it to be honest with you, but he basically he uses finger picking, but he uses a hybrid technique where he uses his thumb pick like I would play. Like when I play a solo, I play like this. So that's the usual way, and that's a pretty typical way that a guitar player would play. But Richard uses his fingers to play the high strings, and then he uses his the pick to play the low strings. It's kind of a variation of a finger picking technique. You can tell I'm terrible at it, but the idea is that he can play these really elaborate things where he basically is almost like playing a piano, where he's not only playing a bass part, but he's playing a treble part along with it. So he can come up with these incredibly full sounding guitar sounds where it's just him and the one guitar. A matter of fact, one of the most famous Richard Thompson songs of all time features just him on an acoustic guitar, and he sounds like there's probably about two or three tracks playing, and it's all him, and he's singing it. And the song is called Vincent Black Lightning 1952 or 1952 Vincent Black Lightning. It's a classic tale of love gone bad. But it's a story song, rich in folk tradition. The musicianship is fantastic, and definitely should check it out if you've never heard that song before. It's a good way to get an impression of just what Richard Thompson is. Richard Thompson is also a fantastic electric guitar player. He doesn't just play acoustic guitar. And this will be the third time that I've seen Richard Thompson play now. Uh, I consider myself to be a decent guitar player, but the last couple of times I saw Richard play live, it was very humbling for me. It made me feel like I didn't know hardly anything. And I've been playing guitar since I was 16. I mean, I haven't always been like practicing every day with a strict regimen, but I like to think that I can play decently. I have a certain level that I've reached, but I feel pretty humble compared to somebody like Richard Thompson. So it'll be fun to be humbled again, and it'll be good to see some great songs. This is only the second concert I've been able to go to this year. We did see Patti Smith earlier, my brother and I. So it'll be nice to see him. The nice thing about Richard Thompson is it's a short drive away, and so it's going to be a quick and easy concert. But I'm a big fan of his. I have several of his albums, and he is one of the people that I strongly recommend that you look at. Once again, his real strength is that he's a great storyteller, he's an excellent musician, and he's a good songwriter as well. About the only downside of Richard Thompson is he does have a lot of output, so he produces out a lot of songs, and the songs sometimes kind of even out among them. There's a lot of songs that are kind of written in a similar pattern. And so that's about the only downside of Richard Thompson. But to be honest with you, the upside is so high, it's worth it. It kind of, it seems to me like if you hear your first Richard Thompson album, that's the one that kind of worms its way into your heart because that's your first exposure to him as an artist. So, whichever your first Richard Thompson album would be, I guarantee you that when you hear that album and it connects with you, that'll probably be one that you'll have a little bit of warmth in your heart for, maybe more so than some of the others. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And I will post shortly, probably either about the new My Morning Jacket album or potentially the new Courtney Barnett album. But I'm not always going to talk about new albums. I may even strain away to other music topics, but music's what I know best. Maybe I'll even start going beyond music, but music's kind of like my forte. Have a great one, guys. Thank you.